Welcome everyone to our last event of our VRAM Forward program. With VRAM Forward, we have looked at how VR/AR mixed reality can change the way theater makers work with extended realities, how different performances work, and this is the final evening now. We have talked extensively about how to work collaboratively in VR, about virtual set design, about new trends and audience engagement, but now we come to a very special presentation. One of the most interesting theater interventions using virtual reality over the last few years is a piece called BEDLAM. The idea is extraordinary and it uses the possibilities of XR to a really great extent. I'm very happy that Antoine Cardon, Matt Collishaw and Julien Planté have agreed to share some insights and tell us about this exciting project. Enjoy.
Welcome to VRHAM with an exclamation mark and this keynote presentation about theater in virtual reality. My name is Julien Planté and I am producer at Minky Productions in the UK. And I am joined by artist Matt Collishaw and producer Antoine Cardon at El Gabal in France. Today we are going to talk about theater in virtual reality. How does it work and what can it look like? What does it mean for the performers' interactions and so on? So we are going to base our presentation on BEDLAM, the extended reality experience that we are producing right now. So first, I would like to pass it on to Antoine, who is going to give us an overview of extended reality theater.
Hello everyone, so I'm Antoine and I wanted to touch quickly on the concept of extended reality theater. It's a new concept. Actually, we started and other companies have started working on this idea since like 4 years. 4 years ago were the first performance that we can qualify extended reality theater. In our idea, extended reality theater is an hybridation of several key components. The first one is that what we want to build and the way we want to build the storytelling is very close, and the mechanics we are using are very close to the one you can find in immersive theater, which is like the spectators can interact freely with the world. There is no stage. The spectators are inside of the set with the actor and can exchange with them and participate in the building of the story. Because it's extended reality, we use like different kind of new technologies to be able to distribute this content. It happens in 3D environment, and spectators can access this 3D environment with different kind of devices. So we all started doing location-based show using virtual reality headsets. The live actors, which we use performance capture techniques to be able to have a representation of themselves inside of this virtual world, so we can interact live with them. Because it's virtual, we have no constraints compared to reality. Our first piece, for example, was Alice, the virtuality play. It was a short XRT experience happening in the universe of Alice in Wonderland. And you, as a spectator, were impersonating Alice and could interact with the world and the story of Alice. And of course, you could discuss with the key characters from the piece, like the White Rabbit and so on. Well, we have not been the only one to produce extended reality theaters. There is more and more example like Chain, Victorian Nightmare, the RSC latest production called Dream, The Tempest. It's a format that is actually growing very fast and which is very interesting for many reasons. especially because it can solve the constraints that lockdowns put on every one of us, because it's virtual. It is possible to virtualize those events and attend them completely remotely. So now I'm gonna ask Matt to present BEDLAM, which is the project we are working on a few years now, an extended reality theater performance.
Hi, I'm Matt Collishaw. I'm a visual artist and I work in a very wide range of medium, from oil painting to laser scanning. I try to pick a medium that works the best with the subject matter or the content that I'm working with. I made a virtual reality project a couple of years ago. Now I'd like to move forward and make another virtual reality, extra reality project that actually has digital avatars, that has people in it, that's interactive. So when looking for a subject for this project, I came up with the idea of recreating BEDLAM Lunatic Asylum, which is the first real psychiatric hospital in the world. And we wanted to set it in BEDLAM Lunatic Asylum in the early 17th century. And I thought it might be interesting to use this new slick medium of digital technology to go back to this place that was very rough and raw, primal and visceral, and to have this contrast between the content and the technology that was delivering it. And also because I wanted to have a relationship with people within inside this context that we're creating, where there is a slight shift in perception. When you put a headset on, you're in a different environment, you're in a simulated world, and your perception shifts somewhat. And obviously when you're in a lunatic asylum, something similar is happening. The people are there or in the asylum because their perception of reality is different from the regular, normal person's perception of reality. I also wanted to make something in this experience that reflected on how addicted and captivated we're becoming with digital technology, and how we're now immersed in this self-imprisoned world of digital technology, and that our perception of the world was being skewed by our immersion in our digital devices. So I've teamed up with Julien, Planté, and Lucia, and Antoine and Marie to make this whole project work. BEDLAM is a 90-minute long immersive VR theatre show for 10 participants guided by a live actor. A remotely operated experience, the spectators and live actor connect in the digital space, entering BEDLAM from their own homes. The show is divided into 6 chapters and offers a multi-user narrative and personalised VR experience. The spectators first discover the hospital through an atmospheric exhibition and an immersive documentary. They are then propelled into the heart of BEDLAM Lunatic Asylum. BEDLAM depicts the world's oldest lunatic hospital as it was in the 17th century. The reconstructed digital space is based on the original Bethlehem Hospital near Bishopsgate, just outside the walls of the City of London. Our live actor embodies a female porter who will guide the journey through the dark corridors of the hospital. As visitors move from cell to cell, they'll be able to interact with patients, connecting with each individual, being drawn into their moving stories and sometimes delusional symptoms. Absurd, shocking, grotesque, and ultimately poignant, BEDLAM resurrects a particular sinister chapter in the history of human conduct. As the narrative unfolds, the spectator's passive status will be eroded as they embody their new role and character. Each spectator will participate in a unique story that's different each time, an evolving experience based on their interactions. BEDLAM exposes the human condition in all its fragility, revealing the complex, enduring qualities of the human spirit. In portraying the patients in BEDLAM, the experience will feed the spectator's voyeuristic appetite. However, as the narrative unfolds, visitors will slowly realise that their preconceptions may be deceptive. Perhaps it is they and not the patients that have a distorted perception of reality. beguiled and deluded by a society dependent on digital technology.
Thank you, Matt. We've just presented the concept and the idea behind BEDLAM. Initially, it was a physical art installation. It was a location-based experience, a very ambitious project. It was also expensive to build. The business model was challenging. And then COVID-19 happened, and we had to change. We were forced to rethink the experience. Now we came up with a fully remote, multi-user, interactive, and highly personalized experience. We are now producing virtual reality theater. We have been able to transform the initial constraints into something providing infinite possibilities. And now the experience is longer as well. Initially, when it was an art installation, we were thinking of a 15, 20 minutes experience. Now it's a much longer, in-depth experience. And it also incorporates an exhibition, so people will learn about BEDLAM from a historical point of view. It's actually, the whole experience starts from the moment you get into the space with your VR headset, or actually it will be available also on mobile and from any desktop. So we have managed to increase the flow and the capacity of spectator, and that had also an impact onto the business model. So what is extended reality theater? Well, for what I've discovered so far and experienced myself as we are producing BEDLAM, it's a spontaneous social experience where the audience can drop into a world even with their friends. Each member of the audience actually experiences a unique and personal journey that is different at every visit. And with that, I mean that the audience is able to interact with the live actors within BEDLAM. They play also their own characters. They have to embody, literally embody their character that they are playing within the experience, within BEDLAM. And each character has got their own personality. They've got their backstories as well. So it's really a dynamic experience where the actors react to the audience members' behaviors. And all of that, it results into a new form of a new narrative. It's a new way of telling stories, especially because the world that we evolve in, it's in real time. So all of it is based, the whole experience is based on the cumulative choices from the audience members. And of course, it has an impact for us in terms of production, in terms of script writing for the characters, for the audience members, for the live actors. The live actor, who we call often reactive actor, is actually a term I came across 2 years ago, and I think it really says what it is. A reactive actor, the actor reacts to what the audience member is doing or is saying. So that's where the challenge is. Actually, us as producer and Matt as the artist behind the BEDLAM, I think it's the challenge is how we personalize the experience for each audience member.
I will just add that the term reactive actor has been pinned by Michel Reillac. It's Michel, and it's based on the experience he had on Alice at the Mostra Festival. And
that's right.
He actually came with this concept, which is really very important in what we do, because the improvisation is one of the key components of this kind of experience. But the improvisation should be constrained in a narrative arc that has been written. So there is a whole work with the actors and the writers to build this narrative arc and adapt it. So we build what we call the improvisation Bible, which is actually a set of pre-thought situation. So we try to figure out what the actor will have to face, which situation he will have to face. and we try to find some ways of stay in the narrative arcs, but answer on all two situations. And of course, the improvisation Bible is appended after every show, because after every show there is a new situation. So it's a work. It's always a work in progress, which is really very interesting, and it means that the piece evolves while it has been played. So it's a very important part of how we build the stories. Another way that we use also is that we use some behavioral tree approaches where we produce many contents, and depending pre-recorded contents, and depending on the spectator actions, they're gonna trigger a certain content or another one, which gives the diversity, the personalization for each spectator to have a really different story, even if they redo the experience, and even when they redo the experience, if they embody the same character, the same role. And it leads to something also which is very interesting, because clearly we struggled with the business models. Now that we switch to something which is completely virtual, which happen in a virtual world, we actually build the tools which allows to propel this vision for BEDLAM, where people embody realistic and personalized avatar, where everyone can access very simply these very high quality rendered words without having to install anything or have a powerful, very powerful computer, where the actors can perform remotely. And this is a platform that we called Gaia, actually, that we are developing in parallel with BEDLAM, and that could be one of the tools that content creators could use to be able to propel to new kind of stories. We envision, and we are not the only one, that very soon there will be something that we will maybe call metaverse, which will be a persistent virtual world where people can gather socially, and where a lot of the what happens in reality will happen virtually. And there is this question, because we're working on this metaverse since quite a long time, about what kind of content we will be able to experience in those metaverses. And of course, there will be games and like simple social interactions and events like you can have in Fortnite. But we do think that what will be the main content, the more interesting content, will be resembling a lot what we're trying to achieve with XRT. So I've been a bit too long. Maybe Matt, you can conclude, please.
Yeah, for me, the metaverse, something very interesting. I'm accustomed to exhibiting in galleries and museums, like physical spaces where you have a limited capacity, and the geographical location of the space limits the number of visitors that can experience the work. So showing in the metaverse is obviously interesting, as it will make vastly increase the reach of the work that I make. And in addition to this, I work a lot with new media, burgeoning technologies, and the metaverse itself, it creates this whole new fascinating realm where like behavior and interaction are going to be different to that in the regular physical world. So exploring this new dimension and experimenting with the parameters. It's like getting a whole new palette to play with.
Yes, thank you all so much for attending our last event of our program, VRHAM Forward Virtual Theater. We have looked at very different possibilities to use XR in theater and performance, and we hope you got some very interesting insights into this new practice. Thanks so much again to the Fonds Darstellende Künste for supporting us to do this whole program, also to our cooperation partner Zimmertheater in Tübingen, and to our festival dramaturg Sabrina Schmidt, who put all this program together. Thank you guys so much. Have a lovely evening. Take your time to roam around through our virtual venue. Come back over the next few days. Our festival is still running until the 12th of June. And have a lovely evening. Thank you all. See you very soon.